Welcome to the Polity, your deep dive into the forces shaping governance, policies, and power. From the halls of government.
You were there. I was not there. Check the record. Wait now. You were there. I was not there.
To the voices of the people.
We are suffering. This suffering is too much. It's too much. Look at the students. There's no job. They finish school. There's no job for them.
We analyze the undercurrents, expose the intrigues, and break down the narratives that define our democracy. Dr. Tony Olisa Mbeki delivering razor-sharp analysis, and Ebuka Franklin and Chisom on the question wheel, driving the conversation. We bring you the most compelling discussions on governance, policies, and power plays. Stay informed, stay engaged, stay ahead. The Polity, every weekdays at 9:15 a.m. Exclusive on Udala 104.7 FM Onitsha.
Protest was scheduled to happen today, 17th of December 2025. The Nigerian Labour Congress spoke about protesting the insecurity in the country. And of course, according to NLC boss, he said workers are facing worst survival crisis in Nigeria's history. But of course, yesterday, NLC team headed by Joe Ajero and the president met. And according to the statement credited to Ajero after that meeting, he said they are now going to go back to their own meeting. And when they make a decision, they'll let the world know, they'll let Nigerians know, they'll let the Labour Congress know. And of course, that decision by the NLC, we are yet to know of. But presently, fingers crossed, the police has said they have deployed men across the country to make sure that there is no breakdown of law and order. Fingers crossed. At the end of the day, the big question is the security crisis in Nigeria. What is the federal government? What is the state government? What are governments at all levels doing to address the insecurity? Artisan, peasant, civil servant, politician, everyone is affected one way or the other. And now yesterday, the Nigerian Bar Association and the police started to disagree again over the tinted glass permit enforcement, which the police said is not going to start in January 2026. When I saw the report about the permit enforcement starting in 2026 because of rising insecurity, I asked myself, a lot of issues of insecurity tend to peak during the Ember month, December precisely. So why wait for December to end before you start to enforce something that is supposed to make people be safer, especially at a peak period? But of course, surely the police have their reasons. But the Nigerian Bar Association is saying, no, the court is yet to decide on this. So you cannot make a decision. All of these and many more we'd get to look at on today's edition of The Polity. Good morning to you and welcome. I am Chisom Chinedu. Franklin Ebuka is here. And of course, Franklin is going to be keeping us updated with some other happenings in The Polity.
Good morning, Chisom, and good morning to every Nigerian. Unfortunately, Chisom infected me with catarrh. So for the world to hear my voice, of course. So let me see how I'm going to manage this. But be known to you that if I'm done with today, if it's too hard for me to manage, I'll give it back to you. All right. So talking about other developments we have in the polity. Let me first of all commend the Anambra State Police Command for a job well done. Why am I commending them? I'm commending them because the police was able to respond quickly to a robbery incident that happened in Abagana. That was yesterday. A young man was said to have been robbed of a certain amount of money that he was meant to deposit in a bank, and an alarm was raised, and the police responded swiftly. Talking about men of the Anambra State Commissioner of Police Special Patrol Team, that team was said to be on patrol when that alarm was raised, and they responded quickly, and they gave the armed robbers a hot chase, and in the process, they were able to target the tire of their vehicle. So the armed robbers abandoned the vehicle and fled. And police was able to recover 636,700 naira. And at the same time, they recovered a 1-pump action rifle, 1 locally fabricated single barrel rifle, and then 1 Toyota Highlander vehicle, which the armed robbers were operating in. So we must say kudos to them. This happened around 5 p.m. Yesterday in a bag, and so we say kudos to the police for
commendable.
Yes, doing this, because 2 days ago, that was on Monday, there was there were armed robbery incidents in Noka targeting POS operators. One happened at Aroma, and one happened in front of my street. Because by the time I returned from work on Monday, a guy that we used to go to him and get money in emergency. In fact, they came to his shop asking for money, and he resisted, and they shot him in one of his legs. And guess what? This guy is somebody who has deformity in his leg, and they shot in one of his legs. This one, it happened in front of my street. So this one that they were able to respond to, I was also hoping that they had to increase their patrol, because that very evening when I came back, I saw men of Dogachi in front of my street. I was asking
what happened,
because that was the very first time I was seeing them on that kind of patrol.
You see why I had issues with the tinted permit enforcement being moved to January. So if it's a matter of urgency, this is the peak period. How about you swing into action now?
So we want the police to increase surveillance, see how they were going to work with Dogachi, especially now we have these men on the underworld who are going to target some small businesses who they would like to fleece of their hard-earned money. So kudos to the police for this job well done. Then we'll talk about other things. Okay, you mentioned NLC. Let's see how it's going to be, because for me, I'm already having this very fear that protest is not going to happen. Because if you watch the interview, which was granted by NLC President Joe Ajero after the meeting with the Mr. President, he had his tongue in his cheek, and he couldn't say, okay, we are going to do this or do that. And he said they are going to go back to the meeting, and after the meeting, they are going to make the decision on what will be the way forward. Then let me finally talk about this, and I am hoping that the Anambra State government or any other authority will be able to respond to this quickly. In as much as it could be argued that it's on federal government road, but the flyover I'm talking about now was done by Anambra State government. Talking about the flyover at New Pass, that flyover at New Pass. The expansion joint on that flyover is causing traffic gridlock, especially in the evening. If you pass there between 4 and 5 p.m., you're going to observe what I'm talking about, because that expansion joint has expanded to the point that every vehicle has to slow down very well there. And once you have if you have good number of vehicles running on that flyover at the same time, it tends to slow down vehicle movements. That it might think as if a vehicle broke down on that very flyover. So I'm hoping that they'll be able to run to it and see how they can help to survey the situation, because now we are approaching the festivity. Of course, we're going to have an influx of people coming in. So let's see what we can do to help those who are going to use that road during this very period. Right
before I bring in Dr. Tony Olisa Mbeki, what you just mentioned reminded me of what I witnessed yesterday evening and this morning around the 3-3 axis. So I was wondering to myself, you have Atma and Onta men on the road. Where can we bring in having towing vans to operate alongside these people? This is a time where a lot of vehicles break down also, probably because of the weather, the heat, and just this morning, right after the Nkisi river, or what do I call it now, stream, there was a very big traffic congestion because 2 vehicles broke down at the middle of the road. And I was asking myself, it would have only taken the operators on this assignment, on the road, towing vans hanging on around them, to just take these vehicles out of the road. And, you have better flow of traffic. and also holding Nigerians accountable to the madness on our roads. And yes, so our roads are bad. So what? So we have to drive like people from a jungle? Because more often than not, the congestions we have, especially where we know that our roads are bad, are human factor occasioned. People would create 5 lanes on a lane that is supposed to accommodate only two lanes. Why? And then everybody just has to struggle. You keep bashing people and people keep bashing. Honestly, we can do better as a people.
What you just said now is a reinforcement of what we have been asking ourselves. Would there be a time when we are going to begin to act like humans and begin to use our brains? Because the difference between a human being and an animal is that you are rational. You're giving the brain for you to think and think even way ahead of time. Because sometimes it beats my imagination where people will drive recklessly because they want to find their way home, and then you block everywhere to the point that JJ cannot move, I cannot move. And when somebody even volunteers to ask you, please, can you just put your steering this very way so that we can make way, you begin to holler. The thing is, I can't comprehend it. Yesterday at Kennedy Junction there, I was in Onitsha till 5 p.m. till 5:30, and I discovered that once it's 4 p.m. in Onitsha and in Oka, anything about traffic light is suspended. Anything about traffic men is suspended. Just like,
but it shouldn't be so.
To attend or Israel, people now begin to drive the way in anyhow they want, and I'm asking myself, so we can't even on our own decide to be responsible if we don't have men of Atma or Onta or whoever on the road, or special marshal of FFRSC on the road trying to control us like children. We can't even use the brain. In this our climb, when you see once it gets to 4 p.m. and see somebody trying to observe traffic light, people behind him sees him as if he's mad.
You're not far from the truth.
So I don't know where this mindset is coming from, and I'm just thinking that we as Nigerians, we as the led, can begin to act responsibly while demanding that government does what it's supposed to do.
Absolutely.
Then you talked about the breakdown of vehicles. Well, for me, I can say that you just mentioned a business idea for people this very morning. People who run or people who operate a towing van, they can find a way to, hang around in these places so that once this thing happens, of course, they'll be able to offer service. One is that offer service to society and also making money. So I think it's a cool business people can think about.
Well, we're not alone in the studio today. Dr. Olisa Mbeki is here. Good morning.
Good morning, Chisom Chinedu. Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, the good people of Southeast. Good morning, Ndi Anambra. Good morning, Ndi Onitsha, Ndi Osumo. Wherever you are listening to us from, it's always a pleasure. We have to run faster than time for us to be able to meet up with some different engagements and national development, and then we do this, and then we are being guided by the God Almighty for everything. It's always a pleasure being here, and we December 17th, right? And then we see how busy the roads are, and we can imagine what the situation will be by the time most of these people I'm seeing trooping down to main market or Nisha start coming back. And it's also very unfortunate that there is a dump site at Okono Street here, which has been there for some days. And people there are really, really affected. And it's not a good site. And you can imagine the issue of some airborne diseases that could be affecting, could be circulating in that area. So we are calling on those who are responsible for either evacuating or taking off dumps. They should come to Okono Street. It's not a good sight to behold. And I'm aware that the mayor of Onitsha North has done extensively well, but this will not in any way dent some of the progress and achievements he has recorded. So it's important that his office see to the evacuation of these dump sites. I don't know if there are other ones around this area, but I'm talking about the one I spotted since Saturday.
And it's increasing.
And that's just that. And people live around that area and they have businesses around that area. It's not good.
Health, environmental hazards. It's a lot. Thank you, Tony, for mentioning that. We're going to go straight to telling you what the front pages say, but after that, we dive into the analysis proper. We have the Nigerian Tribune newspaper on our desk, The Punch, The Vanguard, and of course the Guardian newspaper. And we start with the Nigerian Tribune. Banner headline here is Dangote petitions ICPC NMDPRA boss fires back. This story is on pages 3 and 18. It has riders. Dangote confirms readiness to provide evidence. How I funded my children's education in Switzerland. Farouk Ahmed responds, insists on thorough probe. 2026 Senate cuts crude oil benchmark to $60 passes MTEF. Page 17. Tax Acts. Dino Melaye threatens to sue NAS over VAT provisions on page 5. PDP rallies ex-governors, ex-ministers on page 5, 2027. FG record, how Mafia relatives held Buhari captive, manipulated him on page 3. The riders, for 8 years, he had wrong people in right places, Aisha explains. Oh well, Aisha raised the alarm about the cabals. The big question is, has the situation of Nigeria improved since the man who led the cabals take over governance left? Or do we still have probably a different set of cabals? Or maybe the same, who knows? Manipulating things from the back end. NLC to hold protests over rising insecurity today on page 2. NBA slams pleas over tinted glass permit enforcement on page 13. And on the health column, AI now decodes sweat for early sign of disease on page 13.
Okay, so let me talk about that very report about the spat between Dangote and NMDPRA boss, because that was I think that should be late last night that we saw a report credited to him, claiming that he had responded to the allegations raised against him by Dangote Refinery. But this very morning, there was a statement that came from him saying that what people were reporting that was his statement didn't come from him, that he preferred that for the fact that Dangote had gone to ICPC to file a petition, that he prefers it that very way. So it's now less for them to go to ICPC. ICP does its investigation, they call him, and he goes to provide what he knows about the funding for his children's education. Then over to the Punch newspaper, we have the banner headline. It says, insecurity, police deploy special forces ahead of NLC protest today. The story is on page 2. It has a rider. NLC defies pressure, mobilizes state chapters, police lockdown flashpoints, CPs meet labor leaders. That's the story. Black card looms as gas shortfall hits power stations. The story is on page 9. And I took my time to go to the comment section of this very story. Guess what one guy said? He said, which of the black card are they talking about? Because for the past 1 week, he has not seen light. So if there's any other kind of blackout, he doesn't know about. But the issue is that the gas companies have withdrawn supply of gas to the thermal stations because federal government is still owing them in trillions. But what baffles me is that that should be about either December 2nd or 4th that the federal government announced that money had been approved for the settlement of the debt owed these very gas generating companies. So what has kept that from being implemented? We look at another headline. It says 154 billion students, or rather 154 billion naira student loans disbursed in 19 months NEL fund. 154 billion naira student loans disbursed in 19 months net fund. The story is on page 14 of our Punch newspaper. Beside the nameplate, this one has a kicker that says petrol battlefield. ICPC plans NMDPRA boss probe after Dangote petition. The story is on page 2. Then over to the nameplate. US adds Nigeria to travel restriction list. The story is on page 7. There are some other African countries that were added to the list. What that means is that some Nigerians are going to have some travel restrictions because US is concerned about certain kinds of development in the country, insecurity, and other things. FG to acquire 24 fighter jets for 1.2 billion euros. The story is on page 14. And if you go through it, it says that the plan is for them to acquire the fighter jets from Italian company. FG recorded 30 trillion naira revenue shortfall in 2025. Edu, the story is on page 7. So the Minister of the Economy, Wale Edu, was before the House of Reps Committee yesterday talking about Nigeria revenue in 2025. And they said the budget of 2025 was about 50 something, I think that should be about 54 trillion naira. And they had this very revenue projection of about 40 point something trillion naira. But guess what? The minister said that as of now, Nigeria has been able to raise 10.7 trillion out of the 40. And if you're going to look at what Mr. President said in September, that Nigeria had met its revenue projection for the year, it's a sharp contrast. If you go through the story, you can even see the quote, which was made by Mr. President when APC people came to visit him, and he said that we had met our revenue target. And now the minister is saying that that we have fallen short of that projection in 2025. And guess what? In 2026 budget, we're also going to make some other projections that are unrealistic. The other headlines we have on the Punch newspaper say 2027 ADC state chairman lock hands over Congress. Check page 4. Massive arms cache uncovered in Kogi. The story is on page 14. Transco Hotels appoint Awele Elumelu as board chair. These are the stories you see on the front page of Punch newspaper.
All right, then from the Punch newspaper, let us go over to The Guardian. And of course, on the front page of The Guardian newspaper, the banner headline is Anxiety, Mistrust Cloud Nigeria's Tax Reform Promises, Benefits on page 6. There's still a lot of clarity around this. I came across a video a day ago that was saying something about income tax being not for people that earn less than 800,000, and for people that earn more than 800,000, you still have to deduct the 800,000 before you still start calculating. It was, and I was just asking myself, what would it take for this to be? Maybe the orientation agency sponsoring thorough educative programs, PSAs, just for people to really understand. Because there's also this rumor going around that by January, a lot of bank accounts will stop working. Why? If you don't have a tax identification number, a lot of persons do not even know how to get it. People are just running helter-skelter, looking for cheap alternatives, looking for an escape route, because they don't really understand what is happening, how they can be affected, and what they need to do to, mitigate it and keep using their account. So there's a lot to be done with this whole tax reform. Downstream sector wobbles as corruption allegations escalate regulatory battle. On page 6, Trump places Nigeria, 14 others on partial restriction to US. On page 2, gas issues, 6 trillion naira debt cripple power generation as discos record lower load profiles. On page 4, Elumelu to chair Transcorp Hotels board. On page 18, NHRC laments 422,942 abductions, sexual violence, others in November. On page 5, that's an alarming figure. NBA kicks against tinted glass enforcement, warns against extortion. On page 20.
Well, this very new tax law, which is going to come into effect by January, of course, like you said, that there have been so many misconceptions about it. And talking about the tax identification number, the TIN, I think the government has been able to explain that if you have your NIN already linked to your account, you don't need to worry about your TIN, because that will be used to generate your TIN. All you just need is to go to the bank and ask for it. But I agree with you that there is need for more orientation on this, because several misconceptions about what is going to happen, how bank is going to tax is going to tax any money that comes into your bank account or what have you not. But what I want to tell Nigerians is this: by January, there's going to be need for you to label any income that comes into your account very, very well. Take for instance, if somebody's borrowed money from you and the person is going to make a repayment, it will be good to label it properly, because if it's not well labeled, maybe it might be conceived as an income coming into you, and that could be taxed. The thing is that a whole lot needs to be done so that people are not caught in quagmire or in uncertainties by January when the new tax regime comes into effect. Then over to Vanguard newspaper, about the nameplate, CBN revokes licenses of ASO savings, union homes. The story is on page 19. Another headline on page 8 says Nigeria's 80% unemployment rate, indictment on leadership. Peter B is the one saying so. Workers facing worst survival crisis in Nigeria's history. And I'll say the story is on page 5. It has a rider, or it has a riders. Says citizens being crushed by inflation, insecurity, poor wages. Nigerians now spend 80% of income on food. That's NLC saying that. Falano to AGF, rearrest 10 soldiers, arraign 400 terror sponsors. Check page 6 of Vanguard newspaper. NBA police disagree over tinted glass permit enforcement. It has riders. Says police exhibiting troubling disregard for rule of law. Call IGP to order. NBA tell Tinubu no court restrain police from enforcing order. Police headquarters. The story is on page 7 of Vanguard. Duke Ogumbiyi media titles grace Uncle Sam art exhibition. The story is on page 10. Emergency rule. PDP ADC differ with AGF over Supreme Court ruling. Check page 8. The cabal made Buhari lock his room against me. Aisha. The story is on page 9. And guess what? That statement that Buhari made, that his wife belonged to the other room and to the kitchen. I think Aisha also reacted to it in that very book, which was written by Omole. And guess what? Of course, she said that in as much as it came out badly, but it was a joke from the president. Maybe by the time people read that very book, they get to know more about the president who was described in the book as the slender man, the man who moved from wearing khaki to wearing abada. And guess what? They said that he allowed them free hand to do what they wanted to do, but nothing changed under him. That's the anticlimax of his administration.
Right then, we're going to go straight into making sense of all of these developments right about now. And we're going to be starting off with taking a look at what is up with the NLC. Right before we go over to that, Tony, would you want to make any comments concerning the peaking of insecurity, especially robbery in Anambra State?
It was timely, there's no doubt, because we know the season we are in, and many people who would want to make money from robbery, kidnapping, and other one-chance activities. In Anambra State, it's what we call one-chance. Pickpockets are everywhere. If you go to main market or nature, they're everywhere, and people are to be vigilant. But trust us, the local vigilantes, the police, everybody is on top of the game. So police should be commended for such timely intervention, at least responding to robbery incident where one was actually robbed. And it goes on to tell everyone to be careful as you're on the road. And we also want the police and other security agencies, including the Agone Chamber, to intensify efforts. Last time we spoke about security on this very program, I did say that they must show presence reassures confidence. They must show presence. They must be on spaces where people ordinarily have fear for being in that area. So they should show presence, and also they should make use of intelligence. They must work with the locals. They must work with the community dwellers. They must make use of intelligence to see that some of these things are nipping in the bud. There are some shuttle buses that are not genuine. They are one-chance boxes. People should be very careful, and at the same time, they need to keep on checking on these people, keep on tracking them, keep on going after them. It's important. They deserve commendation, there's no doubt.
Absolutely. Now we're going over to what's up with the NLC. And also, not to forget to probably play an audio of what the NLC president said after the meeting that was had with the president. I'm just going to pull up that video, and you'd hear directly from the NLC boss. Before now, we were told a couple of weeks ago that the NLC intends to have a protest to talk about the insecurity in the country, to protest actually the insecurity in the country. But of course, NLC has said that there's been a meeting with the president, and after that meeting, NLC boss said that they are going to go back and meet. Let me just increase the volume so you can hear him.
And then continue tomorrow. By tomorrow, we will get the outcome.
Okay. Are you still insisting on your project?
Okay, I think the network is a...
If I'm insisting or I'm not insisting, I'll communicate to you. It's not an organization that one person rules. Let's go back. Now you have a meeting of Labour and the Governors Forum. We'll go back to the drawing board and digest all that the Mr. President said to us and move forward from there.
All right.
Okay. So, when Franklin mentioned earlier that he's a bit skeptical about the future of this protest, and of course, would I say the voice of Labour in crying out against insecurity in the land, this is probably the reason. NLC president saying now they're going to go back. Tony, do you fear that they've been bought over And also, looking at this protest, yes, there is a lot of insecurity in the country. Is this the right time for them to go on a protest?
The first thing I want to ask is NLC. I don't know if they are in Nigeria or possibly they have been in Cameroon or they have been in Ghana or they have been in Chad. I don't know if they have been in Nigeria. Are they waking up to issue of insecurity now? Insecurity has been there for a very long time. Many Nigerians have been talking when we had the Plateau issue, the Benua massacre, and when we have had different kidnappings for ransom at different places. So it's very, very unfortunate that all of a sudden NLC is coming up to say that they are protesting. In fact, for now, I think Nigerians should stop taking NLC serious for any reason. I don't know, whenever they need money for one thing or other, they will come up with anything. Before you know it, they will tell you it has to do with the issue of pump price. I remember when Mr. President had promised some cushions to actually take charge of or take care of some of the inflationary and at the same time aggregated damages as a result of subsidy removal. And also at a point after for a very long time came up and said that they were going to protest because they have not seen some of these cushions. There are some of these things the president promised that, and we talk about compressed natural gas, the CNG buses that will be rolled out, the CNG stations, some of these things that we are promised, they have not seen any. But we are surprised when they thought about the protest. They were called up by the president to the office of the secretary to the government of the federation. They were giving CNG boxes and possibly fat envelope, and the shorter one. Nobody heard anything about CNG buses. Nobody heard anything about the pump price. Nobody heard anything about the subsidy removal and other things we have seen in that line. So NLC, they have become a joke of the year. If there is any award they should win, they win that very award. They are not to be taken serious. They are there for their private business. I'm stating it with every sense of modesty. Whenever NLC under Joe Ajero, whenever they feel that they need money, this is December. Obviously, they need money. And that's why they are coming up with the protests on insecurity as if the insecurity started today. So, for me, I'm not taking them serious.
Okay, so Tony, NLC is a trade union, and the essence of trade union is to protect the interests of members of that trade union. And if you look at their core mandate, the mandate include defending workers' rights, improving working conditions, and advocating for national interest. Now, you look at how this very body has carried out its activity. In fact, the color of the NLC under any dispensation is determined by who leads that very organization. Yeah. We saw what happened during Ayuba Waba. Before Ayuba Waba, so we saw what happened then. And now we have Joe Ajero, and his time has been dogged with clashes between him and then some government forces. We can't forget his experience with the Imo State government, where he was brutalized and he was on TV crying over the spilled milk. Now, looking at this issue of calling for a national protest because of insecurity, people can say yes. People can say yes, there is need for a protest for government to rise to its responsibility of protecting the lives and property of the people. But on the other way around too, let's look at other things to see whether NLC is actually becoming a medicine interloper. Now, the issue of calling for a national protest over insecurity, is it within the ambit of what the mandate of NLC is?
Anybody can call for protest for anything. When you talk about insecurity, if you're affected, you are affected. So anybody can, not just NLC. We've seen groups before now who had come out to say that we are going to protest on insecurity. We've seen that. And we've seen even the ones by Showore and this group. So my concern is NLC have said they won't be taken serious by any reasonable Nigeria. You want to talk about I remember their protest, electricity tariff protest. I remember they protested increased electricity tariff today. What was the result? Was anything done about electricity tariff? NLC protested. That was even before President Tinubu came on board. That was in 2020. Even their minimum wage protestation. I remember when they protested for minimum wage. Remember what played out? They were going for what do you call it, 700,000 as minimum wage, 600,000 as minimum wage, and all of a sudden they agreed 70,000. And remember when they were gunning for that 600, 700,000, they said they were not going back. But the truth remains that they came out to tell us that Mr. President said if he offers them 70,000, it means that the pump price as at that time, which was around 500 or something, will not be tampered with. But immediately they accepted 70,000. The pump price rose as high as 1,000. They came back again to protest. Nigerians jeered them. In fact, nobody took them serious. I could remember even their protest on hardship. If you recall, that was sometime last year, where NLC and TUC came out. They said that we are in protesting over inflation and then forest crisis and fuel costs. They termed the protest on hardship that Nigerians are suffering. I want to ask you, what came out of that protest? Nothing, because they were settled. So, now, you can go on and on. I've said it over time that each time they come for protests, they need money. And they will try to apply the pressure. They will be called upon by those in government and they will be giving some handouts. And they will chicken out. And tomorrow again, they want us to be distracted. NLC is actually distracting the mindsets, the feelings of Nigerians. They should not take us for granted.
I'd like to point out something here. The leadership of NLC. The government doesn't meet with every member of NLC. The government meets with the leadership of the NLC. And so I am curious to find out, do you think that the persons who make up NLC are any interested in these changes that the leadership are pushing? Because if they were, I would have thought that when the leadership keeps chickening out, they would come together to say something. But every time that this happens, we are met with silence. So it looks like the people who make up the body outside of the leadership are even more docile. And so I'm led to ask, the lack of participation of Nigerians in movements like this, do you think it fuels the way the government reacts to issues, knowing fully well that we are more or less just going to make noise on social media and stay back home?
I remember when NLC was NLC, when they stand for masses, when they stand for workers, when they stand for interests of their members. But now, it's no more the same. And many Nigerians have overlooked them. And that's exactly what is going on. Many Nigerians have overlooked NLC as more like a political party. But they do not contest election. What they do is to support candidate and settle with that person. I remember the last time they were with Mr. President. Can you remember the song they were singing for Mr. President? If you could recall, they were with Mr. President, and when they were giving their envelope, they started singing for Mr. President. I'm just trying to recall the nature of the song. They didn't sing "On Your Mandate We Shall Stand." That was not the song they sang that very day. I'm trying to recall the very song. If anybody can help me with that, you can help me with that. They were doing their cheering, and then they did everything. But in any case, if you have eulogize Mr. President is doing well for NLC. Their leadership, for instance, maybe these things may not record down to their members. And they will tell you it's not one organization where one person rules, that we are going to go back. We are going to communicate to you. And when you was asked if you are insisting on the protest, he said, I can't tell you if I'm insisting or not. That we are going to have an engagement with our members. Mr. President has just spoken and we are going to digest what he has said and possibly come. See, nothing that Mr. President has spoken, the leadership, you've been settled. And that is what you needed. You needed money for Christmas. And Mr. President has graciously...
How do you know that they were settled, Tony?
What do you mean? The last time they were singing for Mr. President and many Nigerians came out to criticize such song, they even did one... What do you call it? They did one song for Mr. President. Okay. And these were people that we are...
Okay, we are assuming that for the fact that when you go to the presidency, there could be a handshake. So from there we can say, okay, they might have been settled, right?
Definitely. And one thing about Mr. President, it is very magnanimous. President Tinubu is magnanimous when it comes to giving. He is a generous giver, even as a private person.
Now, let's talk about the imperative level of a nationwide protest over insecurity. Okay. How imperative is that for Nigerians to protest over insecurity, or it is needless?
Nigerians had thought about protesting over insecurity. Remember the protest, I think as at 2, 3, 4 months ago, we are different groups under different banners came out to say they were protesting for insecurity. There is nothing wrong to protest against insecurity, and I've always said protestation is inalienable right of every Nigerian.
But the government doesn't seem to be acting so much on the impact of these protests. So why the same method every time, where yet there is no impact, there is no gain at the end of the day?
I think it's mindset of the government. Each time the people, or for whatever reason, some groups declare protests, government does not want to just take that. And if you ask government, they will tell you that some national assets or infrastructures may be attacked during that process. But we've seen situations, we've seen court rulings, we've seen judgments of the court. And each time this judgment comes, is expressed in line with the provisions we have under Section 40 of the Constitution. Freedom of association, freedom of opinion, and then you have to express such opinion. And in doing that, it could come in different form, but it must be peaceful. And another thing is that the police have also been told many times that whenever people protest, go and ensure that it is not hijacked by some unscrupulous element, and also that it does not turn violent. And some of these assets or infrastructures, they are protected. And that's exactly the work of Nigeria, the civil defense. Because the civil defense, it is in their core mandate to protect Nigerian infrastructures, not even the police. Police is to ensure there is no breakdown of law and order. So most times they don't even know their jurisdictions. Police will tell you that we are acting, we are coming out to ensure that these infrastructures are not vandalized. It's not their core duty.
Responsibility.
It is the core duty of the civil defense, NSADC. Their duty is to make sure there is no breakdown of law and order in any form. So, but nevertheless, we've seen it many times. The last time protests were called, NLC likes doing their own thing. They don't align with Nigerians. If Nigerians, on maybe for different reasons, under different groups, come out now to say they are doing this, NLC will stay back. And they will not even act, or they will not even do as if they are interested. When they need money, they will come with their own. And naturally, when they need money, they are seeking for Mr. President's attention. So, if you look at Joe Ajero now, his closest friend is the governor of Imo State, his home state governor, which is also expected. Remember when he was beating black and blue?
I was going to ask you, wasn't that the same place he got brutalized?
But they have become friends because it was Hope Uzodinma that led the NLC to see Mr. President. We saw it on the news. So, they have become friends and allies. So, you can understand the politics, how it is working. So, from enemies now to friends. So each time they need something, Hope can always talk to them and tell them this is the way to go about it. And he promised them, I'm going to take you to Mr. President. And he did. Unexpectedly, Mr. President, being magnanimous, would surely do something. And they will now tell you that we are going to go back to tell you whether we are going to still protest. They are not going to protest anything. Take it to the bank. They will not do anything. They have got what they were actually asking for. And so be it. And they are not genuine. That's the point I'm trying to make. So they are not genuine. They are not acting in the interest of Nigeria. I'm talking about NLC. Let's not take them serious. Let's not take them serious. They are just there for themselves, making money for the leadership of the of that very organization. But the real thing is that Nigerians are facing insecurity. They are facing the issue of security challenges, and we've seen that. But we expect concerted effort. And now many people are asking, is Donald Trump still coming? Where is Donald Trump? And last we heard was that there is cooperation going on. There is joint tax group that was set up. So they are working to ensure that Nigerian government does what is expected. But have anything, or what one would ask, has anything been done? So we are expecting the issue of state police, Mr. President, or the National Assembly. And what the National Assembly over the time, they have been busy screening ambassadorial nominee. And that has taken over the whole thing going on in the National Assembly. I thought by now the Committee on Constitutional Review should be hammering on the issue of state police for those states who are interested to have their own state police. And it is one of the ways we believe that we take charge, they will take care of issue of insecurity. And I've not heard much about that from the National Assembly, so it is quite disappointing. I don't know what is going on there.
All right, we take a break now, attend to some commercials. When we come back, we go to take a look at what's going on between Dangote and NMDPRA boss. Farouk says he wants a thorough probe, and Dangote says he's got evidence Big question is, how much does Farouk earn to have children in schools that cost as much as $7,000 in secondary school, and another $7 million, and another for $5 million? Interesting times.
Udala Radio, 104.7 FM. When the city sleeps, when the city sleeps, the river remembers. When the drums call, Onitsha awakens. This December, the call grows louder as Udala Radio joins forces with the Golibe Festival 2025. From December 26th to New Year's Day, the heartbeat of the East comes alive. Music, laughter, art, culture, and the unstoppable joy of homecoming. This year promises more energy, more color, more connection. A festival for every proud son and daughter of Igbo land. Stay tuned to Udala Radio, your front row seat to the celebration that never fades. Golibe Festival 2025. Exclusive media support by Udala Radio. It's not just a festival, it's who we are. Golden Promise Fiesta 1.0 2025. Be there at the biggest fiesta of the year. Join us live at Sonia Hotel, Sawite, 153B Eziweka Road, Awado Bosi, Onitsha, on the 20th of December 2025 by 5 p.m. till dawn. It'll be a night of unforgettable entertainment, comedy, dance, and thrilling musical performances from Annie Dons, Professor Chikobi, Sawan-on-One Women Leader, Twin Parrots, Abuchi Obosi, and many more. Tickets are available now. Regular 2,000 naira, VIP 10,000 naira, VVIP table of 5 persons 500,000 naira. Get yours at number 1 Ngozi Obago Plaza, 20 Enugu Road, Onitsha, or number 1 Pampam Lane Suite, P25, second floor, Merito Plaza, Main Market, Onitsha. Before the tickets sell out, contact us on the following numbers: 0814-394-2802 or 0808-441-5156. Golden Promise Fiesta 2025, proudly powered by Golden Promise Entertainment, sponsored by Melvin Table Water and Callisto's International Limited. Don't just hear about it, be there.
Your investment is just one drop. On its own, it can only do so much. Now, imagine a million more drops. This is the power of First Asset Money Market Fund and First Asset Dollar Fund. They pool your money with others to create a powerful flow, giving you access to great earning opportunities. Call 0201-889-4444 now to start with 5,000 naira, $100 or more. Let us build wealth together. The First Asset Money Market Fund and First Asset Dollar Fund are registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission, Nigeria. Please read the prospectus and where in doubt, consult your investment advisor, stockbroker, fund or portfolio manager, accountant, banker, solicitor, or any other professional advisor for guidance before subscribing.
Merry Christmas from all of us.
Udala Radio
104.7.
Now hear the Christmas Day sweet past. Let's go. Bells they ring for the street tonight. Children they dance on the Christmas light. Mama they cook your love aroma they rise. Yeah. For they smile, joyfully miles. Don't know they for body love they warm. Afro be breathing happiness don't come. Oh, from Onitsha city to every home. Now say liberty shine food is on. It's a Udala Christmas. Oh, oh. Everybody gather make we jolly. light up the tree, let it shine. Let it shine. Love for the season, make we share. Make we buy. From morning to night. Udala, hold you tight. Now Christmas magic, pure delight. Udala, Udala. Christmas day sweet, oh. Udala, Udala. Feel the beat, oh. From all of us at Udala Radio. Merry Christmas.
Kare Christmas ya wetalanye angole no bioto. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year from all of us at Udala Radio 104.7 FM, the voice of the region.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM.
You're listening to the Polity. Get involved now.
Joined us. This is the Polity on Udala Radio 104.7 FM, and of course we've been taking a look at happenings in and around Nigeria, from NLC versus the president, and of course the planned protest of today. We move over to that squabble between Dangote and NMDPRA boss Farouk. Yes, day before yesterday, Frank, you mentioned how it's been going between the two, talking about how Dangote has accused Farouk of sabotaging the system so that he would keep, making extra money and funding the lifestyle that obviously he does not earn enough to fund. Now, Farouk has said that he does not mind a thorough probe, Tony, and Dangote said he has proof. Now, what do you expect in the coming days? What do you see happening at the end of the day, especially with Farouk saying that he wants a probe, and knowing that we run in a system where probes are barely scratches on the surface, except where political interest is affected?
I think when Farouk says he wants probe, like it's open for that, definitely that won't be the case. And Dangote is saying that he has got evidence, and he has also petitioned independent corrupt practices and other related offense commission. Fine and good, but we know what is actually the problem. The problem is Dangote had wanted 15% petroleum import tax. Every importation of this crude into Nigeria, Dangote had wanted 15%, so that he would have a good ground against these foreign competitors or these importers. And then NNPC is one of the importers because they still import these products. And then the Nigerian Midstream Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Agency, that is the NMDPRA, they have been the one regulating who brings in petrol and who does not, who get the license and who does. They are the regulator. Now, for the fact that Farouk stood down such proposal, because we are told that Dangote had made some contacts around the presidency to get this thing to be sealed, but Farouk stood down to allow importation. Their fight is very simple, because before he went personal, the fight is Dangote wants stop importation so that the local refiners would make profit and at the same time make good of their refining capacity. Farouk's argument is that you have challenges, that if we shut importation, we can't trust the fact that the local refineries can bring in these products to address the daily demands. But that's by the way. Now, Mr. President declined assent on that 15% petroleum import tariff, which didn't go well with someone like Dangote, because Dangote found that these people want to keep on making money from importation when we have the local refining capacity. They now left that fight. They went personal. And Dangote now said, you know what? This man is corrupt. He's five of his children. He pays $5 million in their tuition, about 4 of them. But I saw the release made by Farouk, a man from Sokoto, where he said that he had been in NNP, in fact, former DPR, Department of Petroleum Resources, former DPR since 1970 or thereabout, because he was reading out this date that he had been there. He began as a junior engineer. He rose through the ranks till the moment he became the DG of the NMDPRA. But the case is that he had made strategic savings over the time. He was trying to explain the source of the $5 million and what Dangote had said that he spends as the tuition fees and other things, because Dangote broke it down: accommodation, flights, tuition, and some other things he said. But now Farouk said that his late father had trust fund or scholarship, or what he call it, a scholarship trust fund, and his children are beneficiaries of such trust fund. And not just that, that as somebody who has been in the civil service for close to how many years, from 1970 he had joined the DPR, he had made some strategic savings, and at the same time he had also made some investment that every civil servant has investment opportunity given to him by the service. So he utilized his own investment opportunities. He made investments so that the scholarship covered the 70% of that amount Dangote was talking about, and the remaining 30% was as a result of his investment, and at the same time his investment and savings. So he was trying to explain the amount involved, but his explanation, I think, for those who have been really pushing him, they said Dangote should go and sit down, because the man did not allow 15% import duty, which you had wanted, which you had perfected, which you had used their contact at the presidency to think you can seal it. But the man stood it down, convincing Mr. President to decline it. But nevertheless, what is the interest of Nigerians? Because if you look at a man having 5 of your children in those schools, what happens to Nigerian schools? But he said that he exercised his freedom of choice. Nobody that he worked for the money. And he said that his compensation every year is 46 million. That is what he gets as the chairman of the regulatory agency, that he has compensation of 46 million naira every year. And it is there in audited report of that very agency. So if you check if he can have such amount, 46 million naira every year, plus his strategic savings and other investment opportunities he has also undertaken, and the scholarship to his late father. So these things put together explains why his children are where they are and why they are doing what they are doing. But Dangote is not taking any of this, because Dangote believes that some of these importers, they have compromised him. The fuel importers have compromised him, and those he gives license to import, for you to get a license, how much are they giving you for you to accelerate the processing of their license? But the man definitely is a usual Nigerian tradition. If you're in such a position, definitely pressure will come, and anything, one thing about Nigerians, once you're in such a position, anything, any service anybody comes for, it is actually charged, even when it is incumbent upon the person to render the service. But they charge for those services. If you want license, they will be asked, do you want it express, or do you want it, Nigerian language, you know what is express. So how do you want it? You'll be given the account for that through agent. So Farouk cannot say that he is speaking the truth, because there's no way you will be in the water and at the same time claim that the water cannot touch you, or water did not touch you, or never touched you. It's not possible. So he should save all these explanations and all these things. For me, on this part, I'm on the side of Dangote, because somebody who is working to bring down the pump price, he has slashed the pump price. And it's not also something that these marketers are happy with. Marketers, they are into profiteering. They are middlemen. They lose nothing. They are not the major investors in the industry. So that is my thought about this.
Okay, so Tony, because where I'm concerned is what is going to benefit Nigeria better. I know that when we signed that the Petroleum Industry Act into law, what it supposes was that we're going to deregulate the downstream sector where different persons can play in there. It's not just one person, it's not just the government, but private sector people can come into it and play in that very sector. And the essence is that once we have competition, it's going to drive down the price of petrol.
Absolutely.
That's a conception, but we know that the implementation has been challenged because of poor infrastructure and facilities that we do not have. But we are going to is because this whole spat between Dangote Refinery, Dangote and Ahmed Farouk, like you said, it's not going personal. And each person is trying to see how he can get to the other to be able to have his way.
And we are losing sight of the matter.
Exactly. You made reference to a statement which was credited to Ahmed Farouk, where he explained how he was able to make money. I'm just trying to bring in this because of for us to be for fact's sake. Because this very morning too, I read another statement credited to him saying that
it was all a lie.
That statement didn't come from him. And I'm going to read what was put out this very morning. It says, "My attention has been drawn to a purported response I was said to have made on the recent allegations against my person. I hereby state categorically that the so-called statement did not emanate from me. While I am aware of the wide and spurious allegations made against me and my family and the frenzy has generated, as a regulator of a sensitive industry, I have opted not to engage in public brickbats. Thankfully, the person behind the allegations has taken it to a formal investigative institution. I believe that will provide an opportunity to dispassionately distill the issues and to clear my name." So let's now see, because Dangote said he has evidence and Farouk said he's willing to go there and clear his name. But looking at this whole thing, you have explained what Dangote is asking for. Dangote wants a situation whereby the indigenous refineries, which he's the biggest player, though we have other modern refineries who are into refining of petrol, but he wants whereby the indigenous refineries will be supported 100%. If they want crude, they should be able to get crude, because Dangote refinery, as you speak now, still imports crude from the US to refine, whereas we are a crude oil producing country.
Absolutely.
And after refining, Dangote refinery still exports some of its products, whereas they are saying in Nigeria that he cannot meet our needs. And Dangote is saying that the fact that you have been starving us, the fact that the environment is not conducive, the fact that you still allow importers to import petrol, which according to him, he said the petrol that they import is inferior to what it's supposed to be, that this thing has a way of having a repulsive effect on the economy. One, it's those who want to invest, is discouraging them. Those who have put in their money, they're not making money supposed to make for them to stabilize. But on the other side, the NMDPRA has its own reasons for doing what it's doing. Another thing is saying that what worries him is the fact that up to this very moment, that NMDPRA has even given licenses for fuel importation for 2026, whereas we are still in 2025. Now the issue is this: with all these back and forth, Dangote making his point, NNDPRA making its own point, what will serve the interest of Nigeria given the current situation? Is it a situation whereby we are going to hand over everything to the indigenous companies and hope that they will be able to meet with our petrol demands and petrol needs, or find a way how we can ration this in, whereby in as much as Dangote refinery is producing, likewise other modern refineries, we balance between importation and local production?
For the interest of Nigerians, just like you say that Farouk seems to have reacted to this. These days, nobody's believing anything. For us now, because there could be another statement that will come in a matter of minutes to also react. And then in all of these statements, he's the one signing all these things. Anybody can use anything, can even take your signature and put on any statement, and then it becomes yours. So even the one that is also reacting to, we don't even know who is now speaking.
So you're saying even this reaction, you cannot even verify it's from him?
You cannot verify it's from him. The truth is, if he wants to talk, he can, now come out and make a video and talk. Probably we may believe that. But that's by the way. You asked the question. In the interest of this country, we don't need petrol importation. Honestly. It's against any known economics. We don't need it. We have Warri Refinery. We have Port Harcourt refinery, 2 in Port Harcourt. We also have another refinery in Kaduna. These refineries, we spent how many billions? Close to 4 to 5 billions to
trying to put them together.
See what happens to the money we sunk in those refineries, and nothing it seems to be working. Before the Meleki regime, I remember how he told us that these refineries were working up money and so many things, until it was revealed that these refineries cannot even produce the final product. So it is unfortunate. What we need, if Mr. President is interested in reforming and bringing sanity to that very sector, he should shut down anything importation. It takes foreign exchange to bring in this product. Who will fund the foreign exchange? CBN. We are struggling that the current forex does not reflect the reality of Naira. Naira is undervalued. But that's the truth. It's because we have no capacity to produce, because we always look for these forex to bring in some of this product. If we shut down that importation, it will save this country a lot of foreign exchange, and it will be deployed. In fact, it will make Naira to be equivalent to 1,200. If we make Naira to appreciate against dollars, we don't need it. So what do we need? What we need is to support Dangote as presently. What he's complaining is that they don't support him with crude oil because they still rely on fuel importation. Put these local refineries working. They worry the Port Harcourt, the 2 in Port Harcourt and Kaduna, they will become competitors to Dangote as against the fear of monopoly, and encourage other local refining investors, those who would want to invest in that industry, because they are looking around, looking at how the whole thing plays out. I know many of them, likes of Elumelu, they would like to get in there. Likes of Ajimovia, they would like to get in there. Likes of Atezedupo, they would like to get in there. By the time these people come in there, the competition will be very, very howdy, which will bring down the price of these products to the barest minimum, which will be to the advantage of Nigerians. We don't need importation for whatever reason. Giving the license.
So Tony, as it stands now, because you were able to talk about all things being equal, if you have these refineries, so that others will have, if you have them working, of course, they are going to complement what Dangote Refinery is doing. But as you speak now, looking at the current situation, because if you look at the estimate that have been made, said to be our petrol need in Nigeria, they said in Nigeria that our petrol consumption is around 50 to 57 million liters per day. This is what has been estimated. But as it stands now, what Dangote produces is about 23.5 million liters per day, as of data gotten by November 2025. So if we're going to work with this very data, then maybe consider some other liters that might come from the modular refineries. As it stands now, and having in mind that this fear that monopoly can come in, and Dangote will now be the one that decides on what happened, because it stands now, to a reasonable extent, whatever he decides on the petroleum down sector has a way of having effect on others. Take for instance, he crashed the price of petrol, and it's affecting marketers. Marketers were crying foul that barely few days after they had the restock for Christmas, and they bought at higher rates, and then go take the price that is going to affect their profit margin.
And they didn't even reduce the price. I still bought for 900 yesterday.
No, it will take time before it's going to refer, because one is this: people who have old stock, you don't expect them
exactly
to
the
check.
point. So why are they bleating?
So as it stands now, given this present situation we are in now, would it be wise to shut out importation now, or is there any way it can be blended in a way that it favors indigenous production while trying to improve the capacity to upscale and then be able to meet up our needs?
For now, you say that Dangote produces 23 point something liters per day, as against the Nigerian demand of about 50 to 55 billion liters a day. Now, it's important that we must state the obvious. I think Dangote has a barrel capacity of 600,000, and that's the biggest in the world. And a barrel is equivalent to about 159 liters. 159 liters makes up a barrel. So what that means that under normal circumstances, if everything becomes equal, all things being equal, Dangote produces about 95.4 million liters per day. That's the capacity. If you try to convert,
that means if optimize.
That is what I'm saying.
If production capacity.
Of course, if you give Dangote the raw crude, it gives you 23 point something liters because of the crude you gave to him to refine. You do not give him any crude you give him, he refines. You ration it, and then at the same time says he produces 23. You want to bring other ones to complement it, but you ration the raw crude. Give him the quantity that will be commensurate to our daily demand.
But then you have your FX earnings affected. So I think probably what we need here is
FX affected how?
Because they sell what is left.
No. If it is naira for crude.
No, you said what he's giving Dangote is less than what Dangote needs, right? And the federal government, last I checked, said they are giving that quantity because they also still need to export.
Okay, exactly, to make
FX. So what I'm saying is, if they start to give Dangote more, better for us. But then the federal government wouldn't be getting FX, which is still needed to carry out some of the things that we carry out in the country.
Let me tell you, we have different oil wells in this country. We have a lot of oil wells. And we have those who are owing to mining already. Yeah, remember you have OPL, you have OML. OML is oil mining license. OPL is oil, prospecting license for you to go and look for oil. When you have found oil, then you convert your license from OPL to OML. So, but the point I'm trying to make is this: what they have said, it will not affect the raw crude we sell to countries. Remember, look at this. We sell raw crude to US, right? We sell raw crude to US. We import refined crude from US. So
what do you think we should do quickly to bridge this gap?
I've said it.
Give him more.
Give him more.
And find other ways of shoring up your FX revenue.
No. We have the capacity to sell more raw crude.
All right, then. Quickly, Tony, I'd like you to speak on what's going on between the Nigerian Bar Association and the police in terms of tinted permit enforcement. The police is saying they want to do this because of rising insecurity, and the NBA is saying you don't have a legal framework backing this. People are being extorted. What do you make of this new date set and the blasting that came from NBA yesterday?
A quick one, because there's no time. I'm gonna rush this. Police should just take their time.
Okay.
They should just take their time, because we know what the Federal High Court sitting in Warri sometime around October 3, 2025, when they sued John Martins against Inspector General of Police. But the judge issued an order directing parties to maintain the status quo ante bellum. That is the order the court issued. And the court issued this order because there was a pending motion for interlocutory injunction. I will explain this. There was a pending motion. So, being that the motion is pending, it has not been entertained. The need for you to maintain the status quo ante bellum becomes important. It was the order the court issued to parties involved, the police and the Nigerian Bar Association. What happened? Police, on their own, voluntarily suspended enforcement. And when they voluntarily suspended enforcement, they said it was as a result of that status quo ante bellum order given by the court. But the motion for interlocutory injunction was struck out by the court around December 12, 2025, after the police gave an undertaking in court to keep enforcement suspended. You know what I mean? The interlocutory is, you are not, if once interlocutory injunction is given, what it means that throughout the duration of that suit, you are not going to enforce it. But what police did, police came and said, you know what, there's no need for you applying of, this interlocutory injunction. We can take undertaking that we are not going to enforce the permit of a thing. And the Nigerian Bar Association, their organ for such kind of thing, accepted. And undertaking was taken before the court. And the court struck out the interlocutory injunction owing to the fact that there was somehow settlement. Now, what does mean is that there was never interlocutory injunction because it was struck out by the court, but it was on the basis that the Nigerian police took undertaking before the court that they were not going to do the enforcement. So it's surprising all of a sudden for them to just turn around, I think it was around December 15 or 16, to say that they are resuming. What happens to the undertaking? You took in the court that you are not going to make any enforcement. What happens? But they're saying there's no
quick one, because this appears like an ambush. Because from what he's explained, even if you go through the statement which was issued by the NBA president, he stated everything.
Oh, he stated that.
He said everything. How they went to court, how they took undertaking, and the person who was representing the police, the council, was the one who took on the undertaking. So it appears as if it was an ambush. Oh, let's go to the court, present an agreement. Then once the court order stopping police from enforcement is withdrawn or struck out, then let's go back to get back to what we're trying to do. But we are looking at is for the fact that there was an undertaking taken in court, and somebody is trying to renege on that. Can that amount to contempt of court which the NBA made reference to?
Of course, the matter has been heard, judgment reserved. So you are preempting the judgment. Judgment is reserved. What is left is for judgment to be delivered.
Where it is an issue of urgent national security.
And that is the most important thing. We must abide by the rules of the land.
All right, then.
See, the truth is, please, just like I said, they should take their time. I don't know why they rush. Okay. And I've not seen how they've been able to use tinted permit to copy insecurity. We are told about need. We are told about technology. How have they been able to use some of these things to copy security? See, I have said it many times. Just like NLC, whenever they need money, what do? They will start protests. So you have to make the other guess. So the point remains that there is an undertaking and the judgment has been reserved. You can't go and start enforcement when judgment has been reserved on a particular matter.
Okay.
Don't preempt the judgment.
All right.
So the act is more like preempting the judgment, and for me, it is sub judice.
All right, we take a break now, attend to some commercials. When we come back, we open up the phone lines. Do stay.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
Quality bread, Wendy's bread. For your family breakfast, Wendy's bread. I'll pack it on the dosialo, Wendy's bread. Mama, papa, they like Wendy's bread. Kitchen and Wendy's bread. Even children, they like Wendy's bread. Oh, Wendy's bread. Wendy's bread. You get it better, tasty, we go sweet your belly. Wendy's bread. Wendy's your bachichoma. Wendy's bread.
Wendy's bread, tasty bread. You can contact us on our official address, 2nd Business Park, Enugu Road, GRA, beside Onitsha, Anambra State. We also have another branch at St. Michael Plaza at Tani Road. Also contact us on 070-1149-1571. Wendy's bread, your tasty bread.
Wendy's bread.
From the streets of Lagos to the heart of Anambra, the rhythm returns home. This December 28th, Oka will breathe in rhythm and shine in gold. Lagos Jump Off 3.0, the homecoming edition, featuring Annie Guns Onyetaka, Blaze Jarek, Mr. Raw, Slow Dog, Charles Okocha, PB Ninja, Ivata, Diamond Okechi, Eaglet Davidson, Casey Kubana, MC Monica, Abwefi I Go Talk, Slim Sherry, Waga, Ejai Kwamba, Go to Onitsha, Hype Man Extraordinary, Harry B, Hype AO Machine, DJ Fresh Omen, DJ Alonso, DJ Spin Daddy, DJ Factor, DJ Fabuloso, VVIP table, 3 million naira, VIP table, 2 million naira, regular table, 1 million naira, cocktail table, 300,000 naira, standalone or working guest, 150,000 naira. For reservation and inquiries, do call 0913-484-4336 or +1970-258-0990. Lagos Jump Off 3.0, the homecoming, December 28th, Anambra State. This event is proudly packaged by CNN Entertainment. Be there.
Ụbọchị dum jupụtara n'ọtụtụ ihe omume mana ego gị nọ nkịtị ebe ọ dị. Ọ
ọ bụrụkwanụ na ọrụsị ọrụ ike dịka ị na-eme kwụsịlata n'oge a mee ka ego gị rọrụ gị ọrụ sonye na amụma First Asset Money Market Fund na First Asset Dollar Fund ma nweghachita ihe dị mma jiri naanị $500 $100 wee malite ngwakpọ akara 0806-494-5838 ka ị malite ịmụba ego gị ka anyị gbakọ akụnụba anyị ọnụ edebanyere aha First Asset Money Market Fund na First Asset Dollar Fund na akwụkwọ ụlọ ọrụ Securities and Exchange Commission Nigeria biko gba akwụkwọ mgbazi oluso ya ma ebe ọbụla ị na-enwe obi abụọ kpọtụrụ onye investment advisor stock broker fund maọbụ portfolio manager accountant banker solicitor maọbụ onye ọzọ ma ihe a na-akọ ka o duzie gị tupu ịmalite
ụwa ezughị oke mana dịka nwa afọ Naija nwoke maọbụ nwaanyị ebe ugbu a ị kwesịrị ime onye na-akpọ gị n'ekwentị ohere na-abịa so naanị otu ugboro mana nke bụ ezigbo ajụjụ dị na ya bụ ị ga-adịkwa na njikere ekwekwala ka ohere ọzọ ganarị lee anya otu kọlụ ziri ezi nwere ike ịgbanwe ndụ gị tinye Truecaller app n'ekwentị gị tata mara onye na-akpọ gị hụ na ịtụfughị ohere ịnweta otu kọlụ ahụ nwere ike ịgbanwe ihe niile Truecaller za ezigbo oku.
I mean, Christmas is already here, and it's always that time of the year that I look forward to. I mean, everybody looks forward to. You get to see your family and friends that you haven't seen in a while, and you also get to eat good food.
Christmas don't come, see the joy where they rise. Children they laugh, sparkle full their eyes. Market they shine, every street they glow. Spread the love we know. Families gather, sharing light and cheer. December spirit don't finally appear. Hope and blessings everywhere we go. The season sweet like never before. It's a Udala Christmas, joy everywhere. Turn up your radio, love fill the air. Voice of the region, everywhere you go, bringing Christmas magic to every home. The festive companion, you're not alone. It's a Udala Christmas, joy everywhere. Turn up your radio, love fill the air. Udala radio, let it show. Voice of the region, everywhere you go, bringing Christmas magic to every home. The festive companion, you're not alone.
Kare Kirismisia wetalani angole n'obi ụtọ. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year from all of us at Udala Radio 104.7 FM, the voice of the region.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM. You're listening to the Polity. Get involved now.
You already know the numbers to call to get involved: 0803-221-6973 or 0803-827-6694. We've gone from NLC's planned protest today to the meeting with the president yesterday, and of course NLC now standing on wobbly feet. And of course, have they said something now, Franklin?
Well, I saw a video of NLC members in Lagos
protesting
on the street, but I haven't seen anyone coming from Abuja.
Okay.
So let's see whether Abuja is still thinking,
having a meeting.
Of course, why the ones in Lagos are protesting.
Abuja is thinking.
And of course, Dangote versus the NMDPR, Boss Ahmed Farouk, and of course, MBA versus the police. What is happening? Hello, good morning. What do you think? Are you there?
Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This activity this morning in our country. I hope we're taking note. My lady, good morning.
Good morning.
I don't give up your mind. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome.
I'm really happy. I'm excited. And I know that I keep saying sooner than later providence will excel and something has to give. I don't care any political coloration you're giving. But the point is that a man of Dangote standing, I has come up to say, no, this corruption cannot continue in my country. Pure and simple. And I'm happy from a geographical zone of argument. It's a Farouk, it's his brother from Sokoto, it's a Dangote from the north. So we're not going to trust anybody. Yes, how can you be training your children with that kind of humongous money into your lives? When I'm even qualified in Harvard. Is that nice for somebody from Sokoto State? From any part of Nigeria? How are we going to sit down and say, maybe his father from Sokoto, which part of Sokoto? How can you come and tell us that gibberish? Now, I keep saying it. Sooner than later, once upon a time, not so long ago, Providence gave us a man called Obi. We won. But we forgot that the judiciary was going to shut things off and that they did. Now we got Dangote now. What do you want to say about it? Is it corrupt? Did he eat money? Did he spend anybody money? No. Dangote said nothing that touched it. My children went to school in Nigeria. He said that. And listen. And I believe most Nigerians should listen. And I want to tell the younger Nigerians, please get up and take back your country. We deserve a lot better than these people we have calling themselves politicians. No matter what we want to call them.
Right, I have to let you go, Adasi.
Look at Angola. Look at Saudi Arabia.
I have to let you go, Adasi. All right, thank you. Let's hear you. 2 minutes. Good morning.
Good morning, Kisom.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chukwuebuka.
You're welcome.
Good morning, the Ogada of Olisa Mbeki.
You're welcome. It's good to have you.
Obike Promoposi. I proceed. One thing I want to comment on is that about NLC, doing peaceful protests, this and that, because of insecurity, they're just fighting on their own selfish side. They're not fighting for the citizens. It's not today that insecurity is very tight and brutal and hectic in this country. Anytime they are broke, they are lack of money, you will see that they will come out, begin to say they are protesting. Protesting for who? Now today insecurity is there for this country. And secondly, Mr. President has put something like DIN, which I don't understand what that means. So whether I ask anything, I don't want to know. I know during the time of this NIN, Mr. President come out on fully said that they will use the thing to track any this demon blood-sucking group called themselves terrorists of Boko Haram. The date, they haven't get anybody with that NIN. Now he has come now for DIN, which means Okike Nobosi can never go for. I can never go for that because anything they bring out for this country is to suffer the citizens.
Sorry. TIN is not new. Tax
identification number
is not new. In fact, as many years it's been there many years ago. Please let's not confuse this very well, please.
There's no problem. No one idea, bro. The issue is that one thing I love so much is that in this country, I verify that one day all these things will be history.
All right. I have to let you go, PK. Thank you very much. Tony, we actually need to have a series of explanations on the entire tax reform thing. Because saying that you can never go for TIN is quite an ignorant thing to say. You'd really need to understand what is it for, who needs it, before you can just start bragging about how you can never go for it. As much as we understand that sometimes some of the policies may affect the people negatively, we just need to calm down and understand before we start making such statements. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
This is Yezugo calling from Oka.
Let's hear you, Yezugo.
Dr. Tony has done justice to many of the topics. NLC, that time when they initiate action, Nigeria will start countering them. They are distractions to Nigeria. And George wrote to the statement that his own tenor is becoming more problematic to Nigerians. Then coming to Farouk, Wike told us that his father's wife gave her property. Yes. Now he's coming with his own story. They see that Dangote will monopolize the system is not there. Nigeria NNPC controls the crude oil, which is the major commodity. So it's not there unless they will give Dangote the same commodity to overthrow NNPC. So they should hand it over to him and revitalize the refineries. Thank you.
All right, thank you for your contribution. Well, let's hear what you have to say. 08038276694, 08032216973. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Good morning to you, Franklin. Wonderful morning to you, Honorable Speaker, Chief of Olisa Mbeki.
You're welcome.
Honorable Austin, reaching from Novi.
Go ahead, Austin.
Yeah, my Honorable Speaker, we have done justice to most of these headlines. Let me just chip in on this issue of Joa Jero and Labour. I have to say that Joa Jero has been bought over. He's been compromised. So whatever Joa Jero is bringing to the table will be totally scrutinized by Nigerians. What do I mean? Because Joa Jero has not been stable. Look at his statement. As long as he's having discussion with the president, he has not stand now. It means that he's not a man of his word. I haven't said that. The police are hunting down on the tinted glasses where there are court restrictions reserving their judgment. I think the police have adjudicated on the issue, the case already, and become judge, like you rightly said. So this is the issue we are having with the police. Each time there anything that happens in Nigeria, they have to adjudicate, become the judge immediately, and give verdict. And it's no good for our democracy. Apart from the issue of Dangote and that of his counterparts, I have to say, what is good for the goods is well good for the Ghana. What do I mean? Dangote is trying to protect his business, and the Mayan band is trying to protect his business. So we are now seeing different scenario altogether. Thank you. Let me stand by.
All right. Just to let you know, we're live on Facebook, Udala Radio 104.7 FM. You can drop your comment there. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Chidi Chukuma joining you from home.
Go ahead, Chidi.
And Dr. Olisa Mbeki, and the Franklin.
You're welcome.
Good morning to you all. Yes, talking of this planned protest, whether it's in going on. Well, it's just like for quite long now, we have not been hearing from them. And they just want to be heard. And I want to tell you people that are listening, let us learn the Nigerian politics in every areas of life. And let us follow them as they are. Because now that we are condemning our brother position, I have seen a person from his own zone who was calling on President that the greatest mistake of his life is to allow that man to remain. That he should look for his brother, very closest kinsman, and put to that position. That Ajero may destroy his administration. That is a call from one from Imo State. And now, all of you are condemning him. But I think that man is a very wise man. He understands the politics of the moment and is following it wisely. Because if he press much, they will remove him unceremoniously. And then you see the beating, and people laugh at him. And also, when he wanted to press more, they accuse him of terrorism and the treasonable felony. They are accusing him of that. We all saw that then. The politics of today is not politics of yesterday. Igbos should understand the politics of the moment. If he applies that old system, it will not work for him. They want to maintain his position and to enjoy everything that follows it. That's all. Good morning.
All right. Good morning. Let's take one or two more calls and head over to Facebook. Good morning. You should try to reconnect. Are you there? Hello?
Dr. Dim, good morning.
Good morning. You're welcome.
All of you in the studio, remain blessed. I am Great Dame. As if I can streaming the airwaves from a small room.
Yes, Nigeria to come out of its quagmires. It is a high mountain that nobody can climb nor destroy. But let me tell our folks who are under the reach of my voice that Nigeria is the problem of East South, the problem of West Africa, and the problem of the whole world. When I mean Nigeria, I mean Nigerian politicians. The brain of Nigerian politicians is the problem of Nigeria. Yes, every day on daily basis, Dr. Jim Yogunda. Nigeria. Now you find out, has it been abated? It can never abate. Nigeria, they have all the powers, all the processes, all the regulations to make Nigeria well, but the Nigerian politicians cannot obey. Tax reform bill is a work on development, but can it be adhered to? The laws there, and they obey it. That is the problem. We have the balanced laws to make Nigeria an Uhuru and a heaven.
Thank you for your contribution. I have to let you go now. Let's head over to Facebook.
Okay, for our Facebook page, we have this very post from Obina Williams, Lamparesino Kata. Okay, so Tony, he said they were singing "He's a Jolly Good Fellow."
Okay. Yes.
Solomon Iboko, thank you for watching and following us from Abakaliki. Big Justice, also thank you for following. Okonkwo's Zomike Roslin, thank you for watching too. Rotrato Biagu Ikechku Christopher says he's listening from College of Education on Subwe, and he says this present NLC is worse than a toothless bulldog. I'm sure no one is taking them seriously anymore in this country. A series of protests without meaningful outcome. Is that the way to go? He asked. They need no attention, as they have proven to be weak when they're supposed to show their strength. Then Chelozier Prince says, okay, I'm writing from Onitsha. Please, I want Franklin to explain to me what he means by rider, nameplate, and others. Oh my God, I think we have to go for a communication class now. So, okay, let me just, maybe I'll talk about only nameplate because we don't have time. Nameplate is, when you see a front page of a newspaper, there is a section that has the title of that newspaper. It has the logo where designed. It's always in the front page. It has the publication name, date, volume, subtitle, then some kind of ornamentation and what have you not. That is what is called nameplate, or the masthead of a newspaper. I'm not going to go into others because this is not a communication class, but I think I've talked about one. Then Dr. Mrs. Molebara from Owerri says that we have all it takes to develop this country, but we are held ransom by some greedy and selfish people. Good leadership is a luxury in Nigeria. That is Nigeria for us, a country where extravagance and looting have become fashionable among public office holders. I have to cut it at this point. The Collins Uzoma Wakwe, okay, is watching from Onitsha, and he's commenting on. Thank you for watching. Irene Zaiji from Ubari and France says the fight between Dangote and NNPC, okay, this time around is though NNDPR is subsidiary of NNPC, is heading nowhere. Can you tell me that federal government is not aware of what is going on at the NNPC? That case will soon be swept under the carpet because many highly placed government officials will be implicated. And I think he has a way of ending his messages. Arinze is a poor man. We are watching. Then Ugochukwu Frank says, you and your family cannot be having easy lives, living far above your official means, spending government money recklessly, and yet place cog in the wheel of progress of a hard-working individual who sweats to get his money and invest in projects benefiting majority of Nigerians, and expect no consequence. Farouk Ahmed, you must have your day in court. And Odile Aloysius says, taking NLC leadership is a waste of time and risk. Okay, alright, that should be talking, because but what I'm seeing here is taking. Talking about NLC and the leadership is a waste of time and risk. They are only interested in their selfish interests and not for the interests of the members. After they agree 70,000 minimum wage with federal government, do you know that implementation of that agreement ends only in newspapers and magazines? There is increment in fuel price, electricity bill, cooking gas, and what have you not. So I'm trying to cut short your post, and he says that he supports state police, but he has a concern about how governors might use it for other clandestine or selfish purposes. Then Francis Omaga Namani from Amaguns, thank you for watching. Master Bay, he says the simple truth is that Nigerian Union of Leaders, simple truth is that Nigerian Union leaders lack transparency and they are after their private pocket than its association interest and public in general. And the NBA is fighting a fight that has no meaning. What it looks like. Okay, NBA is trying to protect criminals in the society. If NBA can use their intelligence and wisdom, it is to allow police officers to do their work on tinted glass permits enforcement to see if there is a human right violation before they can take action in court. And the last one's from Ugochukwu Frank. He said NLC has lost its credibility and integrity each time they issue threats of protest. It becomes obvious that the objective is financial gain rather than genuine advocacy. And he says this comes as no surprise given the worsening security in the country. When a nation struggles to protect lives, enforce the rule of law, and present credible security assurances, it inevitably raises red flags internationally. The U.S. decision reflects growing concern about Nigeria's security challenges and not sudden hostility. These are the posts we have on our Facebook page.
All right, then we are rounding off the show at this point. Frank, you've answered the question. Dr. Tony Olisa Mbeki, what would your final words be?
I think I have one or two things to say. For those who think that all bank account holders will be taxed from January 2026, it is a erroneous impression. It is only taxable income that is taxed. If you have a bank account, it does not mean by January it will be taxed. And then it is only taxable income, and time will not permit me to tell you what is taxable income and how it affects or applies to a businessman, a member Kate. And then other things, the tax identification number does not mean money will be deducted automatically from your account. It is for identification and compliance, not automatic debiting. And finally, somebody who talks about the police, NBA allowing criminals to be protected or shielded. Please have every right to search every vehicle stopped on the road, tinted or not. The idea of taking money to give license, that money, where would it go? What will it be used for? Money for private escort and other things, is it audited? How is this money spent? Is it reported? See, my problem is nobody is stopping police from doing his work. You can stop any vehicle with tinted permit or with tinted glass, open, search, everything. You have the right. But the idea of collecting money to issue a license for tinted, so that makes the person to be free from the same crime you may be fighting. Let's be real.
Let's be realistic. Thank you, Tony, for your analysis today. Thank you for your calls and your contribution. Franklin, your last words.
Yes. On the issue of tax identification number, let me turn and just this thing very quickly. You might want to opt to evade tax. You might want to dodge to not to pay tax. Good for you, bad for us, but it's not good for the system. But be known to you that there are some services you see from government. Government will ask you, go and bring your tax clearance for 5 years. That simply means you cannot get that service. Just have it at the back of your mind.
Absolutely. Thank you, Franklin. Definitely. The Polity makes a return tomorrow, 9:15 down to 11 a.m. Until then, remember what I always say. Do your bit as a Nigerian who is desiring of a better Nigeria for us to get